At the very beginning of this episode, I'd like for you to do something for me. If you have a pen and a paper, you can draw a straight line on that piece of paper. We used to call it a number line, something of that nature. And at the beginning, you mark DOB, that is date of birth. And then to the very end, at the very end of that line, you mark DOB also, which is date of burial. You and I do not know that. In the middle, somewhere, between your date of birth and today, some time has elapsed. So you can mark there, you can say today. However, there is a later date which we want to call, although I don't like that name, but we want to call it date of retirement, DOR. You mark on that number line, DOR. And then you can subtract the DOR from today's date or today's year. How much time do you have? That is the difference of the active involvement of time that you have in life to bring your dreams to fruition. Dreams related to your children's education, dreams related to your vacations, dreams related to your businesses, your lifestyle, your housing, and all the expenses that you can imagine. Basically, the expenses of day-to-day plus those ones that come because of your dreams and wishes. And then ask yourself a question. Is my salary enough to cater for these things in this period of time that I'm going to be living and actively working? Today on the podcast, we're dealing with the 7 deadly philosophies in the modern job market. And we are going to focus on the philosophy of salaries. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Let's face it, income is a good thing. It is a precious thing because it means that you have done something worth of receiving a reward or another. And one of the ways that you can have income is the salary. In the modern job market, one of the worst philosophies, one of the deadly philosophies in the modern job market is the philosophy of a salary. A salary is a good thing. However, times have changed so pretty much that today, if you are operating with the philosophy of a salary, you might be doing yourself a great disfavor. I remember the very first time I received my salary. It was a beautiful thing. And before that, I was looking forward to getting any amount of money that someone will give me, because working always had an identification mode. It always gave us some kind of identification, and it does. I've written elsewhere on my blog, lifesignatures.life, that work gives us such fulfillment that at times even religion doesn't. Religion and spirituality cannot give us much fulfillment as work does. And I've even dared say that work is a spiritual thing, because human beings have no other purpose on the face of the earth other than to work. And so when you work and you receive a reward, which is in terms of a salary, it can be a beautiful thing. When people started being employed in the days that have passed, the salaries used to be a precious thing. Of course, the salary comes with bonuses and it comes with pensions and so on. But in the modern job market, it isn't that easy. It isn't that straightforward. People are no longer getting these lifetime employments. People are no longer getting permanent jobs. People are always getting these contractual jobs. In fact, as I have spoken of in the past several episodes, there is something called the gig economy, GIG economy, and I'd like you, if you're listening to me, to Google that word, and if you're looking for a job, start aligning yourself towards the gig economy. I know it's a new thing, and I know it's a scary thing. The old has gone, ladies and gentlemen, and we're operating in a totally new environment. The gig economy means that you are not necessarily getting a permanent job. Actually, the gig economy means that you are the one who is offering a service at a temporary time span, a specialized service, something that you have honed your skills on, and you're providing this service to people, to an organization for a period of time, which is very short contracts, maybe a month, or sometimes it's even an hour. But the amount of money you're going to receive from that is not necessarily a salary. It is going to be directly proportional to your professionalism, directly proportional to your finesse, how good you are, how excellent you are, how many recommendations you're getting, how good you do the work, because the next work you're going to do is going to be a referral. It's going to be based on how good you are in the previous level, in the previous job that you took. So it's a gig economy that is changing. But in the past, for the most time, we operated with a job and a salary, but that has changed. We've come to realize, and you might know this, that around you or in whichever country you might be existing, the jobs are not there. In fact, if you look at even America itself, one of the biggest talking points, I'm talking right now in the heat of campaigns, the Democratic National Convention is just about to be held, and people are choosing who is going to be their candidate, their flag bearer against Donald Trump. Trump is going out there telling people there are many jobs, we've created very many jobs, and Biden and the other people are saying this man has not added any jobs, the net jobs that have been added are zero, and so on. But you can see that the world today is talking about jobs, which is a very critical thing, and you will be holding yourself or doing yourself a great disfavor if you had the same mentality like these people are having. The mentality of jobs no longer works in our day-to-day society, which also means that the mentality of a salary, the philosophy of a salary is not going to work for you the way you will think it is supposed to work. Things have changed. Let me tell you about the philosophy of a salary. A salary philosophy states that your worth in life, I'm talking about your worth in life. Your worth in life is directly proportional to how much you earn in terms of a salary. That is the philosophy of salaries, and that's why you see sometimes people talking about I have a side job or a side hustle and so on, because the philosophy of salaries is no longer working. Most graduates have this mentality in the job interview. You see, your worth has everything to do with the difference that you're going to make on the face of the earth. It doesn't have to match with how much salary you're going to receive after doing some work. Let me tell you, for the most part, very few jobs normally give people what is their worth. If you're compensated, if you want to know that you are compensated according to your worth, you should look at the things that you are bringing into the organization. Sometimes people are overpaid and so on and so forth. But you as a human being who has been brought here on earth to do a specific thing, you should ask yourself that question. Are you compensated according to your worth? Are you completely compensated according to your worth? And when you sit in interviews and you're interviewing people, and like I've told you, I've interviewed very many people in 3 African countries, and every time you interview these people, at times you ask that crucial question, that critical question: how much would you like to earn with this position? And you can see how very many people are fumbling through that question. Some of them do not know what to tell you. In fact, some of them do not know what their worth is. Actually, some of them are coming there in a bid not to lose the job. They would want to quote the lowest possible. And the most common answer I can tell you I normally get is this: give me anything that you have determined, because I know you as an organization, you've already set aside some kind of money that you will want to give me. Just give me that one. Okay, so you find people are evading to answer that question for several reasons, and one of the reasons I've already mentioned is that they are afraid to lose the job. They do not want to lose the job. They want to keep the job. They want to keep the position, and that's why they will not want to jeopardize their chances by quoting maybe outside of the brackets, that outside of the range that you have prepared as an organization. And then another thing, the reason as to why they do not have an answer to that question is honestly because people have not identified what their worth is, and they are not like unashamed of what their worth is. As someone, how much is your worth? Even if they're not being interviewed, even those guys who are working, how much are you worth? One of my mentors, Mike Murdoch, says he knows how much he needs to earn in a minute. He knows how much each minute for his life costs. How has he come up with that? He has come up with that because of the visions, the aspirations that he has, and he has attached to each of those some kind of cost that is involved. So my time yesterday, I was in a traffic jam for a whopping 2 hours, and I was so incensed that I wasted a whole 2 hours seated in traffic. And I know I'm developing a book about that, and about how to use moments intensely regardless of which situation you find yourself in. But that 2 hours was wasted. That is some valuable time that I can put into something that can be productive one way or another. So one of the reasons as to why people do not tell you how much salary they want is because they have not quantified their worth even per minute. How much are you worth per minute? See, that gives you a totally different ballgame altogether. When you look at a salary at the end of the month, it is a totally different ballgame altogether. But when you look at your contribution in life per minute, per hour, per day, how much are you worth per day? How are you going to know how much you're worth per day? I've given you an example of how you can do this in the introductory message to this podcast. So a very large percentage of people, when they are talking about salary, because of the philosophy of salaries, which says that your worth is directly proportional to the amount of salary, your worth in life is directly proportional to the amount of salary you're going to receive. When you ask them, how much do you want to earn? They will tell you anything that the company wants to give. Can you imagine that? I mean, we spend our precious time looking for a solution provider, looking for you to come and provide for us a solution for critical matters regarding our vision. And all you're coming to ask for is a handout. Anything you can give me, anything you can give me, I will take. The philosophy of a salary is chiefly responsible for this. People think that they should be paid for being employed. Get it? They should be paid for being employed and not for providing value. Just occupy me, give me time. Give me this job so that it can occupy me for a month. And at the end of that month, give me a salary that is commensurate for you occupying me, giving me something to do. That's a very wrong kind of thinking. When you flip the kind of thinking that I want you to have, which is based on value, it says that you are compensated according to your value, the value that you've brought on the table, which puts the ball back into your court. How much can you do? What can you do? How excellently can you deploy yourself? If you look at the philosophy of salaries, it makes you kind of like comfortable, especially when you've been employed. You sit there, probably you become cozy, you do not want to improve, you know you are guaranteed, and that's the word that people are looking for. And I know at some point in time we talked about, I'm going to talk about the 6 human needs. One of those needs is certainty. You want to be certain that the salary is going to be there, and that's one of the things that handcuffs very many people. They are looking for certainty. They are looking that at the end of the month, whether I put in my A game, my B game, my D game, my Z game, I'm going to get that thing. I'm going to get the salary. And so I'm predictably going to be able to pay my rent. Predictably, I'm going to be able to pay my school fees for my kids, and so on and so forth. People are looking for certainty, which is a human need. But let me tell you this, certainty is not going to be found in a salary, especially in the modern job market. So the philosophy of salaries, you need to look at it from a different angle. You need to look at it from the angle of value. You can clearly see that the potential employee is not focused on helping the organization implement the vision and be paid for their value, but they are focused on their title, they are focused on their job description, and they are focused ultimately on the amount of money that they are going to receive at the end of the month. That is the philosophy of a salary. It's supposed to be flipped. It's supposed to be the other way around. I think you can look at the philosophy of a salary from a selfish angle, especially from the person who is asking for that salary. Someone, Henry Ford told us something. He said that if money is your hope for independence, you will never have it. The real security that a man will have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. Come to think about that, you are not just getting a salary from the organization that has employed you. Don't look at the salary as the ultimate gain. Some of you are going to get networks, you're going to get experience, you're going to get exposure. See, I was able to get into an aeroplane and fly from my country to another country because I was employed, which was a good thing. And the gain I got from that, and I was able actually to go to another country and other countries because of that employment. Forget about the salary. There are networks that I made in those different countries that I traveled to that cannot even be equated to the kind of salary that I was being given. So if I was steeped to the philosophy of the salary, I would relegate very many other benefits that I'm getting. So Henry Ford says, if money is your hope for independence, you will never have it. The only real security that a man will have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, a reserve of experience, and a reserve of ability. In fact, John D. Rockefeller said that, I know of nothing more despicable and pathetic than a man who devotes all the waking hours of the day to the making of money for money's sake. The philosophy of a salary is unfortunate because it kind of defines people the way Rockefeller was talking about, that people are looking for money for the sake of money, not necessarily for doing something else. And that's why I started this episode by asking you to draw a number line. When you're going to an organization to look for a job, which is a good thing, you shouldn't be focused on the amount of salary that they are going to give you at the end of the month. You should be focused on what your aspirations in this life are, okay, which will directly impact the kind of value you're going to provide, which will also free you from looking at a salary as the only source of income that you can have. You need to have more than one stream of income. And one of the ways of creating those streams of income, of course, is a salary. And salary, I can say, is the primary way that very many people, a large percentage of people, have been able to make it in life and create other streams of income. It is through the salary. But we are talking about the modern job market. It has changed. It is different. This, unfortunately, is what the philosophy of a salary does to people. They are there to make money for the sake of money and nothing else. It used to be different in the world that has passed, but today it's totally different. If you can be able to show the difference, the value, the difference that you can create in your life, in your present world so far, you show the interviewing panel that you have potential to make things happen. That's what it's about. Don't just say, I want to be paid because you're going to employ me. That is why we need more self-executive officers, like I talked about, in the modern job market today. Much as money is the answer to everything, even according to the Bible, we should realize that money normally is going to follow your worth. Money normally is going to follow your value. In other words, you have worth first and then money follows. Okay? And one of the ways we've been told to create our worth is to go to school, which also has changed, and I've been discussing these things. But you build your worth. Your worth is value, basically what you can do to change things, to make things happen. Your worth is how gifted, how much potential you've cultivated that is inside of you. That is your worth. That is going to make this world a better place. You may be a speaker, and your worth is going to be tied in the kind of inspiration that your speaking engagements bring to people. Let me tell you, this world needs speakers. This world, and I've said this in the previous episode, this world needs writers. This world needs people. There are very many people who are occupying positions and job titles that are actually doing a half-baked job. There are people who have labeled themselves motivational speakers, and they're doing not even a half-baked job. They're doing a third-baked job, so to speak, because the world needs you to have worth first. And let me tell you this, whenever you prove your worth to anybody, anywhere, they will notice that there is value in there. And your value and your worth must be on a consistent basis. When your worth and your value is known, then there might be not a limit to the kind of income that you're going to generate from that worth. Okay, so granted, the work that you're going to be given, or the job that you're going to be given, is going to add on your worth. It is not giving you worth. You have worth first. Alright? And there are two ways of looking at it. You have worth, first of all, depending on the value you're providing in this world. And then your worth also might be depending on the aspirations that you have. And then at the bottom of it all, there are these expenses that you have to cater for on a daily basis. The problem with the philosophy of the salary is that people are asking for a salary ostensibly because they need to cater for expenses in life. And so people are looking for a salary, which is a basic, and I'm not damning people. I'm not saying that you should, you're not a good person if you're looking for a salary. I'm telling you that it is a philosophy that no longer works because it is the bare minimum, even in the modern job market. If you're looking for the philosophy of a salary, if you're operating with the philosophy of a salary, chances are that you'll be looking for a job, and chances are that you'll be neglecting what your worth is. You'll be neglecting to build your worth even as you look for a job. And you see, your worth is not directly proportional to your degree or non-degree, or diploma or non-diploma, or certificate or non-certificate. Your worth is directly proportional to your passion in changing society one way or another with the gifts and the talents that you have at this level, and you're growing it, which means that tomorrow when I see you after seeing you last year, you are a totally different person who has added worth, who has added value to themselves. And this world rewards worth. This world rewards value. The truth of the matter is that money at times can be overrated. And Steve Jobs said something very unique about money. He said, my main reaction to this money thing is that it's humorous. All the attention to it, because it's hardly the most insightful or valuable thing that has ever happened to me. Steve Jobs. See, there are much better things to pursue in this life than a salary. And like I'm insisting, it has to be the bare minimum. See, these things that you need to pursue are the things that are going to add on your worth. And the more the worth is added on to you, the more you add on to yourself the worth, the more you are likely to attract much more income into your life. So replace the salary with income. See, things like your passions, things like your dreams, even when you are being paid a salary, do not settle for the salary. Continue pursuit of your vision. Continue pursuit of your purpose. Continue pursuit of something larger, something greater in life. And I'm not speaking as if I am already qualified. I am speaking to myself also. So do not let your vision, do not let your desires, do not let your dreams, do not let your passion be killed by a salary. Do not be comfortable with a salary once you start getting it, and do not just be looking for a salary before you can get employed. Look for upping your worth, increasing your worth in this life one way or another. And if you do that, you're going to be escaping the philosophy of salaries, and you're going to be adding quite a bit into your life in terms of your worth. So in a nutshell, the philosophy of a salary tells you that your worth is directly proportional to the amount of money you receive in terms of a salary at the end of the month. Nothing can be farther from the truth. Your worth is much more. In fact, you need to have worth before you can start getting a salary. And you never need to stop increasing, beefing up, making your worth much more valuable. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to continue with this mini series on the 7 deadly philosophies in the modern job market in the next episode. For now, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.